This is 7 News.
Tonight, the fight over multi-storey car parks at Perth train stations.
A 6-year-old Perth girl's narrow escape as a car smashes into her home.
It just freaks me out to think my kids could have been sitting in that living room.
Outback survivors, the tourist who spent 3 days lost in the Kimberly.
And we take you inside the new terminal at Perth Airport.
From the studios of 7 Perth, Susannah Carr and Ardon.
Good evening. The Liberal Party has been accused of making false election promises about building multi-storey car parks at suburban train stations. The opposition says it has all the hallmarks of the promise of a rail line to Ellenbrook that never eventuated. Our state political reporter Geof Parry has the story.
With growing congestion on public transport, commuters are an easy target for promises to make things better. 2 Liberal candidates for the next state election, Jan Norberger in Joondalup and David Good in Gosnells, are campaigning on multi-storey car parks at Edgewater and Thornley rail stations. They don't use the word promise, but in election material authorised by the Liberal Party, voters are told both candidates want to make your daily commute easier by building a multi-storey car park.
This is a Liberal Party strategy, not just the candidates. That's why it's the Premier and the Minister for Transport that need to come out and explain what is the government's real position on parking at railway stations.
Jan Norberger is the Liberal candidate for Joondalup. He doesn't know how much a multi-storey car park costs, but he knows people living around Edgewater Station want one. He's had hundreds of responses to his flyers.
I see my job as listening to the community and passing on their wishes, being the voice, the Liberal Party voice of my community to the state government.
Multi-storey car parks don't come cheap. The Public Transport Authority estimates that each car bay would cost taxpayers $40,000 to build. PTA boss Reece Waldock says that could see commuters paying parking fees of $20 a day. Labor says this is the Liberals repeating their rail line to Ellenbrook promise from 2008.
Yes, we will build the spur line through Ellenbrook.
A promise dumped after the election. Geof Parry, 7 News.
2 cars have crashed into a property in Janicot, just metres from where a 6-year-old girl was sleeping. Police are investigating whether the 2 men behind the wheel were racing each other. Kate Smithers reports.
Tony and her 6-year-old daughter were sitting on this couch moments before the crash.
Yeah, and I think that's only just hitting me today. Yeah.
They'd just gone to bed when they heard the crash. Tony walked out to this. 2 cars allegedly drag racing along Lakes Way behind Tony's house.
The Mitsubishi crashed into the fence, flew over the backyard and landed in the lounge room.
It just freaks me out to think my kids could have been sitting in that living room, never mind the rest of us.
The speed limit on Lakes Way is 50, but Tony believes the 2 drivers were going much faster.
Apparently there were no skid marks from the yellow car who was in my garden and in my house, which suggests to us that he didn't even have the chance to put on his brakes.
Tony's lived here for 9 years. It's the 2nd time a car has crashed from Lakes Way into her house. She wants the council to put speed bumps along the road to stop a 3rd crash.
We have no hot water, no gas, no cooking facilities. It could be months before we're back in. We have no idea.
Kate Smithers, 7 News.
A Swiss couple has survived 3 days lost in the Kimberley wilderness. Police say the husband and wife had no food and little water when they were found after their 4-wheel drive got bogged near Kununurra. Jessica van der End reports.
Tired but alive. It's okay. Swiss tourists Gerald and Lottie Augsburger arrived at the Kununurra hospital after a 3-day ordeal.
They were bogged on the mud flats.
Their 4-wheel drive bogged on the Kurungi track, the couple started walking to find help in 37-degree heat.
No local would go out there at this time of year, so they were very, very lucky.
Gerald and Lottie, aged 62 and 61, were still 100 kilometres from town when they were found. Motel staff raised the alarm this morning when the pair didn't check out as scheduled. As a search got underway, 2 Wyndham residents discovered the pair.
They were in good condition. Pretty good spirits, but yeah, they were pretty happy to see us.
Tired, sunburnt and thirsty, they were taken to hospital for a checkup. The relief obvious.
It's okay.
Jessica van der End, 7 News.
If you thought it was hot when you woke up this morning, you were right. Angela Tsun joins us now. And Angela, it was nearly a record.
That's right, Rick. It was one of the warmest January nights Perth's seen in more than 2 decades, thanks to high humidity from ex-tropical cyclone Narelle. But it wasn't quite warm enough to be a new record. It fell short by half a degree. The lowest the mercury got down to in the city overnight was 27.3 degrees, and the record stands at 27.8. And what was even more unusual is that after we reached our minimum, temperatures started to rise and were over 30 degrees by 2 o'clock in the morning. Tonight won't be as bad as last night, and I can tell you there is a cooler change on the way. Those details later in weather.
Thanks, Angela. A rescue mission is underway off Busselton, where several greys-beaked whales have beached themselves. Locals managed to push 2 whales back out to sea. 2 others are still stranded near the shore. Volunteer marine rescuers have managed to work slings under the whales and will try to tow them out at high tide tonight. But the Department of Environment says choppy waters are making the operation difficult.
It's a crime that's gripped Perth. A man's severed head found washed up at Rottnest Island. 10 days on, the killer or killers still haven't been caught. Now, a 72-year-old grandfather claims it was his information that helped police identify the murder victim. A man he says won't be missed.
Peter Graham likes a chat, but ask him what he thinks of Stephen Cookson and he doesn't mince words.
Oh, he's a monster, really.
A former horse trainer, Mr Graham used to share these stables in Port Kennedy with Cookson about 10 years ago, until they had a violent falling out.
Right on the nose.
He says Cookson, or Cookie as he was known, was a man who got what he wanted at the expense of others.
He's just what you call a rat. No matter who it is, he's got to suck you and get your money off you and then leave you.
After hearing the head that washed up on Rotto had a beard and was missing teeth, Mr Graham knew it was Cookson. He was so sure he contacted a friend, a retired policeman.
I said, get the DNA, and I said, you've got him. You'll have him for sure, and he did.
Mr Graham says the last time he saw Cookson was about 6 weeks ago here at the Larkhill Racecourse. He says Cookson was walking with a crutch and believes his leg had been broken. Mr Graham believes it was a revenge killing and says Cookson got what he deserved.
Good luck that he's gone, because he was the worst bad bloke I've ever known.
Rob Scott, 7 News.
A 13-year-old boy has told how he was stabbed in the ribs as he walked home from a party in Perth's north. It happened outside the Clarkson police station, which was closed. The teenager says it's proof there are too many knives on our streets.
Jackson was stabbed in the ribs, a wound 4 centimetres deep that came dangerously close to his lung.
Missed my lung about 2 centimetres.
Jackson, who's 13, was with mates Saturday night. Walking home from a party, they were confronted by a gang of about 6 teenagers around the same age. An argument between 2 people quickly involved everyone.
I don't think it should be done. I don't know how they could get a knife at that age.
Jackson says he was stabbed only 50 metres or so from the front of the Clarkson police station. Unfortunately, it closes at 4 p.m. The next best place to get him help was Hungry Jack's. Staff bandaged him up and replaced his blood-soaked shirt.
The reason why we're doing this is to get it out there to say kids shouldn't have knives. Kids don't stab kids with knives.
Police say they've got several people they want to talk to over the stabbing. Blake Johnson, 7 News.
It's hoped a combination of fish oil and testosterone could prevent the onset of Alzheimer's. The theory being put to the test in a world-first clinical trial right here in Perth. Researchers need 400 male volunteers to take part.
Peter Godfrey's been taking extra testosterone for 13 years.
I had more energy, had more interest in life.
Now doctors think testosterone could do even more. It's hoped that combined with fish oil, it can be used to prevent or delay Alzheimer's.
The beauty about this process is that both these compounds are available out there in the community.
This world-first trial will be based in Perth and take 14 months. 400 male volunteers are needed, 60 years or older.
Do you care whether they live in Perth, or do you have country volunteers?
Well, we'd be happy to accommodate them, provided they can come to the state. They've got to visit, make 3 visits, a minimum of 3 visits.
People shouldn't do this trial expecting that testosterone will suddenly make them raving men.
To become a volunteer, contact the McCusker Alzheimer's Research Foundation. Emmy Kabansky, 7 News.
May look almost empty now, but by the end of the year, almost 1 million passengers will have walked through these doors.
We'll see about 25% of the activity that's in the current domestic precinct move over into the new terminal.
Built to accommodate the fly-in, fly-out workforce, the $120 million terminal will play home to Sky West, Tiger Airways and Alliance Airlines.
It'll mean a much more stress-free experience for the customers. They can get out at the curbside and get to the aircraft quicker.
The new terminal officially opens at the end of February, but you can see it all beforehand. The airport wants people to practice security screening, checking in, even boarding.
We are searching for volunteers to assist us with our trials of the various processes in the terminal.
The next big project here at the airport is a new domestic pier, and for the first time here in Perth, it will allow all passengers to transfer between regional, domestic and international flights, all in the one location. The international terminal is also receiving a makeover. The expansion is due to be completed by mid-next year. Amelia Broun, 7 News.
Perth's #1, Australia's #1.